Page 17, Grande Valse brillante. In E flat major, opus 18. There's another very famous waltz by Chopin. Keep in mind, Chopin waltzes weren't exactly meant to be danced to. They're just in 3/4 time, and they're very interesting to listen to. This one, let's talk about it. 3 flats, right hand first. Watch this fingering here. The phrasing. I've got the phrasing starting with the 8th notes. And on the 3rd measure, I recommend a 2 on that F. So you're in position, because if you do it their way, now you're out of position for the next measure. So 2 on the F. And you can connect that. I know it's not phrased over, you can connect it. And then for the last 2 8th notes, I recommend a 5-3. And then a 4. For people with fat fingers, this is a little uncomfortable, but I don't have a lot of help for you here. Sometimes you just got to do it because that's a stretch. 3rd line down is the same as the first, pretty much. 3rd measure over, use 2 instead of 3. And go ahead and connect it to the half note. Here. And the same fingering, 5-3. And then 1-2 there in the first ending for the E flat. And then lift up, and I do, on the 8th notes, I do a 3-2-1-2. Keep in mind, this is a very fast waltz, so this ain't gonna work. So it's much easier and with more control. There's more to the actual waltz than this, but this is a good start. It gives you a theme at the beginning of the waltz of what it is. In the left hand, keep the left hand soft. It's just a treble clef. Thumb on the E flat in the last measure of the first line, because you got to come down to an octave to this E flat. They put in a bass clef. That was nice, that wasn't it? And then the beginning of the 3rd line, I recommend a 4th finger on that B flat, so you can connect it, because they want 5th finger. Now there's times in Chopin and other people where you actually have to cross the 5th finger over. But we don't need to here. 4th finger here, and then you can reach up. So work this out. Work it out so you can play the whole thing legato with the fingers if you can. I typically do that with everything. I try and, you can't always. I mean, there's jumps involved, and sometimes it just doesn't work, and the black notes are out of position, and it's a mess. But you try at first. Then you put the hands together slowly. Going from the last measure of the 2nd line to the first measure of the 3rd line. Look out. And then you're here. Most of the phrasing is in the right hand, as you can see. So in this 3rd line and the 1st line, just keep the left hand legato. So from this last measure of the 2nd line, you're here. The piece for this arrangement. So work it out so the hands are working well together. Now they've added pedal in here. They're showing a typical pedaling on waltzes of 3 or 3/4 time, and that is where you lift the pedal up on the 3rd beat. You're basically pedaling the first 2 beats. It's here, and you push the pedal down with the hands. Now that style of pedaling is fine for the second line and the last line, because that's where the phrasing is. But for the first line and the third line, the phrasing is different, and if you pedal it that way, you cover it up. So I'm going to complicate the pedaling if you can. If you can, don't worry about it, but if you can, try this. I want to pedal starting with the second beat of the measure all the way to the first beat of the next measure. In other words, I'm pedaling with the phrasing in the right hand. So at the beginning, no pedal, and now put it down. Lift it up on the first beat of the next measure. So we hear that phrase in the right hand. Now here in the last measure, now you can pedal the first two beats, but I wouldn't pedal the third beat. Same thing in the third line. And then at the end, the first ending, those eighth notes, don't pedal those. Those need to be separated, not real short, just separated and unpedaled, clean. Yeah, we don't want them. That changes the atmosphere of them. This is a light, fun piece, and you got it. So keep it light, if you can. The speed is vivace. That is very fast. Now, vivace didn't always mean that. Back a long time ago, 1700s before, vivace actually meant on the slow side. But things changed, and you know how it goes. And you get old and you're different. Vivace now means quite fast, faster than allegro. How fast is up to you. It's got to be your vivace, not mine. And you hear recordings, and some people, they play this so fast, like it's like, oh, look at how fast I can play this. Isn't this wonderful? And I'm not interested in it. I want to hear the music. So, yeah, I want to hear that. It's like fairies or something dancing around. Well, if you ever do that, and you have enough to drink, that works well. So, your vivace. And we want to hear the melody. So everything else has to be under it, because it starts out medium loud in this arrangement. And then it's going to crescendo up to that sforzando, which is a musical bang, if there is such a thing. So it's that. And then down, suddenly this is like a... And your diminuendo in the second measure, it means you're going all the way down to a soft and maybe a little under, so you're getting softer. And then back to that medium loud again. That boom here, and then medium soft, sort of soft. And then the crescendo on those, you're going from a soft, because there's a diminuendo in the last line, because that's soft. And then you gradually go back up to medium loud. And you get it to the point where you're so comfortable with it and so that you can concentrate on what this melody is doing. I have a tendency to play what the actual thing is doing, and I'm playing extra notes. Didn't mean to do that. Just don't play these notes. Okay. But it's when you can get past the notes and the mechanics of it, and you start thinking about this message, the musical emotion this is emitting, and that's just wonderful. And then that last measure down there, of course, that's soft with the pedal, and you just let it die away for a while, and then you can lift up. And that's this piece.